All right, I'm going to give a brief update and then there will be a little bit of show and tell. So the update is that things are going really, really well. I have a lot of little items to clean up, a lot of little loose ends to tie up here and there. Not so much with the software itself. It's pretty good shape for the most part. But with finishing the deployment and the publish, setting up the user account management and payment system and all that. But it's going great, and I'm actually happy to announce that I would say within the month I'm going to begin a sort of slow rollout, a gradual rollout of the software. I will be emailing people individually in waves, probably in the order in which they purchased version 1, since those people will get first notification and first access. And then I'll try to do maybe 3 or 4 waves of users. We'll see how it goes, and if there are no catastrophes, you should be able to get access to the software pretty soon. So pretty excited about that. So here's a new model I have to show you that was built using Gearify 2.0. So these are 2 ellipse gears that are centered on the focal point, and the focal point is actually extremely close to the edge for these gears. And so when you swivel them, they have this tendency to almost look as if one is stationary and the other is moving because of the extreme ratio transfer of speed between the two. This is very, very fun to play with. Another very cool model I have to show you, another one built by my father using his CNC machine. Special set of gears here. These are called the veiled gears, and you see you have a 4 symmetry with a 5 symmetry, also milled from aluminum. And the thing about these gears is that they have a secret to them. These are sort of like surprise gears. I will stop the motor for just a moment. These have a microwave motor in it, believe it or not. And these plates we have here, if I actually gently grab them, pull forward, you see there's actually a very intricate pattern underneath the plates. So they look like a very simple and basic design, but once you actually remove the plates or the veils, you see that there's kind of a secret decoration inside. So these I think are very, very quite beautiful. My father did a beautiful job with these, and yeah, just another really cool example of the sorts of kinetic art that you can make with Gearify, especially if you take time to sort of embellish the inside of the design. Very, very cool. But that's not all. This month I actually have a special presentation from one of my alpha testers. This is a very talented gentleman named Oscar von Deventer. Some of you may have seen his YouTube channel before. He makes a whole bunch of very cool gadgets. He always does very remarkable things with my project. He uses his own creativity to make the software go beyond its original intended case, which is situation here. But I think it's just an example of how Gearify can be used as a tool to do even more complicated things. So check out his video.
Hi, I'm Oscar van Deventer, and these are 3 pieces of gearing kinetic art that I've designed with the Gearify 2 software by Michael Valle. And what's special about this software is that it allows you to develop all kinds of interesting gearing system with involute gears, which means that they roll smoothly over each other. So let me start with the first one. This is the rolling hearts, and rolling hearts, it has a heart shape that well, rolls over each other. So from this side you see the geared side, from the other side you see more the hard side. And the way that I used Gearify 2 to design this is I started with sort of a heart shape. Then I used Gearify to find the corresponding heart shape at the other side. And then I took manually the average between the two gears, and I repeated the process until it converged. So now we have two identical hearts, or mirror images, that gear over each other. And then I used Gearify to make the involute teeth of the gears. So the next one is wobbly planets. And as you already can see, it's a set of planetary gears. Here you see the backside. And the way that I designed this is I made a parameterized ellipse shape that I put in Gearify, and I calculated the inner and the outer gear, and I tuned the ellipse to the point that they were concentric. So it was a bit of iterative design. So the total number of planets that would fit would be 7, because you have a 2-fold symmetry and a 5-fold symmetry, so that would be a total of 7. However, the planetary ellipses, they would overlap and bump into each other. So ultimately only 3 of them fit there. But it's still very nice and satisfying to play with. The third one that I designed is the rolling hearts. So I started with a heart shape, and then I used Gearify to find the corresponding arches. And from the back side you can see we have a small arch and a bigger arch and a yet bigger arch. So if you count here they are at a 1-to-1 ratio, 1-to-2 and 1-to-4. Anyway, you get this sort of S shape where the hearts keep rolling around, and you can just roll the hearts and they go all the way around. Again, some kinetic gearing art. And my question to you is about this is gearing art. So I used Gearify to design kinetic art, but Michael Valle told me that he has actually a lot of industrial applications of these weirdly shaped gears. And the question is, what are industrial applications of Gearify? Thank you for watching.
So cool. So a few comments I have. First is that the planetary gear stuff that he did, that tuning where he figured out how to make concentric gears, that is a feature in version 1, which I will eventually include in version 2. But in the meantime, you could actually use version 1 to figure out the appropriate shape and then feed that information into version 2. So you would have the capability to do that if you just combined both products together. A brief correction on Oscar's behalf. He told me he meant to call the first gear, the 2 hearts, is actually called heart to heart. That one is a pretty standard design process with Gearify. That's pretty much Gearify being used as intended. And the rolling hearts was made by manually stitching together. So that's a bit outside of the realm of what Gearify is designed to do, but just with some manual editing and with his own creativity, he was able to get it to produce that, which is, I think, pretty cool. Yeah, he always ends his videos with a question, so he maintained his tradition there. I did email him a bunch of examples that he asked about what are some of the applications. They are obviously a bit limited and a bit narrow. Lots of is a relative term, of course. But yeah, I'd also like to hear your comments. Maybe you can talk about what you've used Gearify for apart from Kinetic Art. What have been your applications? So yeah, please post your comments. We'd love to hear more about what you use Gearify for other than making things that are pretty. So that's all for this month. Look out for the release because it's going to be coming real soon.